Hey y'all, it's Megan from Made for Mermaids, and today we're working on the Capri skirt. So the first step is going to be to stitch your waistband. If you're unsure on which size to make, because this is a woven skirt with a fitted waistband, and you may need to adjust it depending on where you fall in the size range. So there is a finished waist measurement, but everyone likes different wearing ease, so you may need to adjust it. So the first step is to stitch the waistband, and I highly recommend just cutting out the waistband only in the size that you think you're going to be, and then base this seam and try it on to see if you maybe want to adjust with a bigger seam allowance or a different size. So the first step is going to be to stitch the waistband with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, then finish that seam. Next, we're going to add interfacing to the waistband. You want to make sure that you do this so the waistband doesn't stretch out. So just because it's a woven, it doesn't mean that it won't stretch. After you get that interfacing added, we're going to prep the waistband. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to fold it in half, widthwise, wrong side together, just like this, and you're going to press it so that it has a center crease. After you fold it in half, we're going to press the seam allowance, the 1/2 inch seam allowance, up on one long edge of the waistband. This is so we can cleanly enclose the waist seam later. So you will press a 1/2 inch towards the wrong side, again all the way around one long side, just like this. I like to give it one final press just so everything has a nice crease and holds its shape. After that, on page 13, you're going to see a waistband measurement. This is what your waistband should be measuring. So just double check it quickly to make sure that it didn't stretch out while you were pressing and ironing. The next step is going to be to sew the side seams. Now, if you're doing the slit skirt, you would first sew your front skirt with your 2 pieces and hem your slit before doing the side seam. So you're going to stitch these together with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and then you'll just finish that edge with a serger or a zigzag. After you finish that seam, you're going to press it to one side, and it's time to attach the waistband. So you're going to unfold your waistband from where you pressed it, and on the unpressed edge, you're going to match the side seam of the waistband to the side seam of the skirt, and then match the sides of each skirt, the ends, and then you will ease the rest of the skirt in place. Now this should match 1-to-1. If your skirt did stretch out, which can happen, especially if you cut your skirt on the bias, you may need to adjust this a little bit. So you're going to sew the waistband to the skirt with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and then you're going to press that seam up towards the folded edge of the waistband. Once the seam is sewn, you're going to serge or zigzag both ends of your skirt on the other side so that we can add our zipper and that seam is finished. So now I'm just going to take this to my ironing board again and press this seam up towards the folded edge of the waistband. The next step is going to be adding our invisible zipper. You want to make sure that you use your iron and you press the zipper feet towards the center of the zipper. On an invisible zipper, the teeth roll towards the wrong side, which is what makes it invisible. If you forget to press the zipper teeth, you might get them caught when you're sewing the zipper on. Okay, let's get our zipper attached. So you want to make sure that waist seam is still pressed up, and you're going to take your zipper, make sure the right side of the zipper is to the right side of the skirt, and the zipper teeth are facing towards the skirt, not the seam. You also want to make sure that the zipper stop is going to be at the top of that folded center waistband, so it comes right up to the top of the skirt once it's finished. And I'm using a normal zipper foot here. They also make invisible zipper foots that you can use if you prefer. But you're just going to stitch it on, and remember it's a 1/2 inch seam allowance here. So you can baste a 1/2 inch line down the sides of your skirt if that helps you. And you're just going to sew the zipper on, getting really close to the teeth and stopping about 1 inch from the bottom of the zipper. And once I get one side sewn, I like to just zip it up and make sure I didn't accidentally get anything caught. And there it is, looks good. So then you're going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. Now I like to keep it zipped and then pin it to the other side, so I make sure that the zipper teeth are exactly at the same point, just like that. And so you just switch your zipper foot to the other side and attach again with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Once you get both sides sewn, you're going to zip your zipper up, make sure again nothing's caught, everything looks good. You can see those teeth roll to the back, and that's what makes it invisible. Now it's time to finish the rest of the side seam. So from the zipper down, you want to align the hems, and then you're going to stitch from where you stop sewing on the zipper all the way down to the hemline, again with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Once you've finished that, you're going to flip the skirt to the right side, and you're just going to place a small bar tack or zigzag stitch right where your zipper ends, and then you can trim the rest of your zipper off if you'd like. It just holds it in place, make sure nothing comes undone. Now we need to finish off the waistband. So you're going to repress, if you need to, your waistband, and you can use some hem tape right here to hold the waistband in place, or basting spray if you want. I always just use a few pins, but if your fabric is a little trickier and not wanting to hold the press, then the hem tape or basting spray works really well. So I'm just refolding the waistband here, and I'm going to place a few pins to hold it in place, and then I'm going to top stitch the waistband to enclose this seam. And you can top stitch from the wrong side or the right side, whichever is easier for you. Once you finish top stitching that waistband, the waist seam should be all enclosed in the waistband just like that. And the final step is going to be to hem the skirt. So you can do this a few different ways. You can use a narrow hem foot on your sewing machine. You can do a rolled hem. What I like to do is serge the bottom, and then you can either just press a 1/2 inch towards the wrong side like this, or you can press a 1/4 inch to the wrong side and a 1/4 inch again for a narrower hem, whichever one is going to look better on which fabric you used. Once you're done hemming, I would give everything a good press and your capri skirt is all done. These are pretty simple to make and quick. They pair really nicely with our Venice top and hemming or an oversized tee and tank. If you make one, as always, we would love to see them posted in our Facebook group or tag us on Instagram at Made for Mermaids. If you have any questions, you can leave them down below and I'll try to answer. Again, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.